This morning, we're starting off in earnest to discuss the economy by talking about the state of manufacturing in America.
Plants are undergoing massive health challenges and safety challenges. So we developed a co-track solution that enables social distancing at plants.
From a global supply chain standpoint, I'd like to see public policy pivot to more productive high-tech manufacturing instead of, this continuation of the shotgun approach that we're seeing. We're at a very critical time in our business. I mean, we must quickly restart our businesses, focus on the supply chains as we were talking about. Without having that critical knowledge base with temporary work visas, the process becomes infinitely more challenging for us.
Research suggests that over the course of the next 10 years, because of the baby boomers retiring and not as many new people or the new generation coming into production, there's likely to be a shortage of up to 2.4 million jobs over the course of the next 10 years. So it's very, very important that this gets addressed in a very big way. And how can it get addressed? So firstly, it's very, very important to skill the workforce in terms of where the manufacturing of the future is going to be. If we look at our own business, we're in the technology business, and so we need constant reskilling. We spend millions and millions of dollars each year to reskill our employees. And I think that's very important. As machines get more connected, as there is more technology in the machines, as Industry 4.0 causes connectedness in the machines and consequent productivity to come in, I think the skilling of the workforce is very, very important. The second one is, how do you do some of these things remotely, right? How do you use technology to train remotely? How do you use augmented and virtual reality to work in plants and make them more effective in the future if you do have that supply gap? The second part is there is obviously going to be a major thrust on reducing import dependency. A, because the supply chains are impacted, and B, because there is a move to make locally everywhere, including here in the United States.
I would call it corporate nationalism. So that we saw the use of things like tariffs and taxes, barriers to entry, not just here in the United States, but in countries around the world, begin a few years ago. And my fear is that in this disruptive crisis era, as countries want to pull themselves out of recessions and underemployment, that will also accelerate. And I think we need to really stay on top of ensuring that we have free, fair, open trade and open markets around the world, that we have the ability to maintain our very sophisticated supply chains, and that everyone has access to markets wherever we do business. I think that is a particular challenge we're going to confront collectively as the business community over the next 18 to 24 months.
In this market, as you know, last year, year over year, production of both passenger and truck tires was up by over 3%. We have seen a significant acceleration in innovation in the industry. Jason, I'm sort of the center of the supply chain, the value chain here. Chris and his members supply our manufacturing processes, so Jason's, and we supply John's. So we are all interconnected here, and I think that's another thing that has been a silver lining of this pandemic response. I think is the accelerated partnership among all of our different manufacturing sectors to speak with a united voice about the policies and actions that need to be taken to help us thrive after the pandemic.
Shut down completely for the first time since World War II. But the companies did not sit by. They shifted their production, realigned their supply chains, and refocused on providing critical personal protective equipment as well as critical medical devices like ventilators.
There's a tendency in some jurisdictions, more than 10 around the world that have done this already, and the number is growing, to try to ring fence digital services and create special taxes just for those digital services. And unfortunately, those kind of digital services taxes fall very heavily on US technology companies, so we're paying close attention to that.
Talking about making it here, if you're talking about severing global supply chains, that retaliation means we're going to actually make less here.
It was very reassuring at both the state and federal level to see the Paycheck Protection Program enacted and the CARES Act enacted. DSM itself did not take advantage of any of those. We didn't need it, but it sort of put a backstop on the economy that enabled people to take a breath. A lot of positive experience working with the FDA on things like convalescent plasma treatment out of our biomedical materials business, to see whether or not these would offer potential solutions to the COVID-19 pandemic.